This seems like a typical story where a guy named Corey wakes up and finds himself in another world, the world of a game he played for hours on end. Yeah, about 3 years ago, he had a character in a game called Heroic Legend of Arhen. She was pretty hardcore. The events took place within the academy, and the endless incidents there could eventually lead the gamers to an apocalypse. It was a massive story, but it's alright because the main character will take care of everything. And I'm not talking about Corrin. He's just an NPC in the starting quest, basically just an ordinary peasant, and he doesn't even have a spear. So, when the guy first entered the game world, he thought, oh, if everything goes like in the game, there won't be any problems. I need to find this protagonist, Park Si-ho. After all, he's going to be famous soon. With that in mind, Corrin headed to the starting point, and there was some guy there mumbling something about fries and Sprite. Definitely an Earthling, brother. And as it turned out, this guy was the main character of this game, Park Si-ho. And there was a significant difference between him and Corrin. As the game's protagonist, Park Si-ho had a system. Well, you know, the status window is just like in solo leveling. Basically, it's OP for leveling up. But here's the thing. Park Si-ho had never played such games, and had no idea what to do here. But Colin could have totally helped his bro with that. If you want to be a mage, better level up intelligence. If you're an assassin, then agility. Corrin isn't leveling up intelligence at all. Turns out our boy is a total nerd. I beat the game 100% with all achievements. He's literally a pro. Having an assistant like him is a huge advantage. And if he'd just show off a bit less, it'd be great, because some half-dead, __, showed up behind him and almost ended this pro's life. It was pure luck that Si-ho reacted in time and eliminated, __, with a magic chain. But honestly, Corrin and Six have become a great duo. The first is knowledge, the second has a broken system. And our hero believed that together they could save many people, or even the whole world, and return to Earth. Knowledge, power, fellowship, a great combo. And everything was great, except for one thing that was very disappointing. Why the fuck are there only guys here? The charm of this game is that it's a fantastic action title with a very diverse cast of heroines. And most importantly, it has a dating sim feature. But Paxies didn't talk to girls, and only took them into the team in cases of extreme necessity. Some kind of Sigma boy. And at that moment, only guys were left in his group, and all of them were pretty boys too. Like, what the hell? But why? The protagonist should have realized it back when the Sword Emperor's granddaughter died on her way to the opening ceremony, or when the first level's final boss, Maria, went missing. Corrin seemed haunted by mysterious disappearances and murders. His playthrough deviated significantly from the game's original story. And, more importantly, the Psyche's train of thought, his personality, his true personality. Corrin should have doubted him, at least a little. Right now, Corrin has discovered a comrade's secret vault, where he found the staff of Maria Dunarive, one of the game's heroines. Like a psycho, Corinne followed him because he kept sneaking off somewhere at night. But just think, his inventory ended up underground. What's this? Mekadashi? This blade vanished after another girl, Arisha, disappeared. And over there is Jaeger's mace, Lark's spellbook, character items that disappeared as you progressed. And inside the tank of strange liquid, she was bound hand and foot. Maria Dunarev is cured. What the __, oh damn. What are you doing here? I mean, you don't want to tell me what Maria is doing here? You said you went after her, but lost sight of her and couldn't find her. And this is a dummy. Who gives a shit? She's just a demon anyway. And why let the blood of a higher vampire go to waste? I'm just using it effectively. You drank it too, by the way, remember? I gave you a sip of that elixir. Mersko. Hey, what do you mean, gross? I've been working like crazy, trying to catch her. Had to set traps in the woods for a month. Why __? Why did you do that? To progress faster in the game, the path you've chosen is way too tedious, of course. You recruited losers trying to save people, and you didn't kill morons like Jaeger Lark. You tried to protect those who can't be properly controlled. And my method is to use people like that, and throw them away when needed. It's effective. Anyway, buddy, I'm better than you at this game. So, this __, was lying to her from the very beginning. It's not like he's a rookie. How many people you've killed? Well, if I count correctly, once I take out 3 more, it'll be 100,000. You're scum, no longer human. You're a monster, bro, you need to wake up. It's just an NPC. You've killed many people too. The ones I killed, they didn't deserve to live. They tried to destroy the world. So your method is effective? A manipulator like Ayano-koji, right? Cuckoo? Yeah. Then why do you need Azure? Why the hell would a mage need a swordsman's hidden item? And what's wrong with a regular elixir? You could have easily gotten it from the stats window. Why did you do that useless __, with the farm? Those dolls were just for your sociopathic tendencies. But suddenly she who grabbed our hero by the hair, threw him into the tank, and Korin, you're driving me crazy. After everything I've done for you, how dare you say that? I was only thinking of you. I should be your everything, literally your world, but you, __, keep sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. All you can do is stare at women. I'm not putting up with this anymore. What? What are you, you? What are you, gay? You're into guys. No, wait, stop. What the fuck, bro? We leveled up 199 levels together. There's no genre here. Oh, it's actually banned by law in various countries. I knew it. Cut the crap already, bro. No, I cleared everything out of my way that could interfere. All for our future. Wait, so is that why only guys were involved? Right, they're just for show. Don't pay any attention to them. The only one I need is you. No. Fuck you. Take that to the jaw. What a load of __. No. I only listen to the Zagachi remix on Raffle Radio. Not the gay one. Oh, go away. No, I never had a girlfriend. And it looks like it won't happen, because tentacles grabbed Korin, tied him up from head to toe, and forced him to his knees. What the hell is going on, Michaelik? Everything was fine. What kind of genre is this? Corey didn't sign up for this, __. That's it, tell him to get his ass ready. In this world, that kid is the only real one. Let it wait here for now. It'll all be over soon. And as soon as Paxahu beats the final boss, of course, that's for the straight core. With that, the member of the LGBT community rage quit. Well, that's it. It's over. That scum always killed everyone himself. Might even beat the final boss. And once the curse defeats him, the protagonist is even afraid to imagine what will become of him. When suddenly, the player died. Mission failed. How did that son of a bitch lose? So is this it? The end of the world. And so it was. But Korin was reborn again and looked at the city streets with disbelief. Did he really go back to 3 years ago, right when he first showed up here? No, there's no room for doubt. I have to. Siho. I'll kill that foo. And leaving the city, Korin recalled how long ago, during a mission to subdue water monsters, a dam burst, and the river swept away an entire village. Thousands of people and monsters died in the dust. At the sight of this whole terrible scene, I almost went into an ecstasy. Back then, the protagonist couldn't understand why he laughed so much, but I think he gets it now. In countless deaths, Siho saw only a chance to monopolize experience. A total maniac. And Korin is the only one who can stop him. But we must act fast. For now, Siho's just an ordinary rank 5 noob, same as him. After all, every possible power-up for players is centered in the Merkaba Academy. After entering there, this __ will become much stronger. And even if he's not a monster now, no one knows how fast his power will grow. The entrance ceremony is in just 5 days, so we should hurry. After picking some yellow fly agarics in the forest, Korin concluded that the only way to kill the Paxaho was to act right now. And that same night, the system launched a tutorial quest. The carriage bound for Merkabo broke down right in the middle of a monster-infested forest. The player must protect the travelers and their guards while they repair the transport. What did Shihu successfully handle? And so the coachman called Mr. Leon and Miss Laura back to the carriage. It's time to move on. Well, let's go then. Oh, I can't wait for a nap. But then the pair heard a noise. And the next moment, a tree flew at them. But the guy pushed Aura aside and barely managed to dodge the heavy projectile himself. But it's too early to relax, as that roar came from a rank 2 monster, a Beowulf. And the protagonist, watching from the bushes, tensed up. It's already started. He ran here right away, but didn't make it. Damn it. If he'd only had time to prepare, he would have saved those people. Or looking at the dead Lura, he ordered Sihu into the carriage. He'll win a little time, but it's no use. Tell the driver to hurry up or they'll catch us. But the passenger's against it, and what, is she suggesting we leave Leon behind? Shiho can't do that, let her run. The monster had already snapped the guard's neck, while Korin's next move was to confirm if this was the hero Paxaho who would save the world, or just another traveler like himself. And seemingly, the terrified guy with the sword suddenly smirked. Beowulf is huge, but instead, a carriage passenger attacked the monster. Only she brushed off the blade with her paw and threw the Shihu aside. Tell the kid not to move. She'll deal with the monster. Yes, that's the second daughter of the Arden family for you. Wielder of Adati, one of the 6 royal swords, the most vital squad member, and the famous hero, Arisha. Asaho would have been scared he'd miss his chance and couldn't kill her. Kurino by such a low blow. The chest seems to have deflated. It was a Shihu after all. Arisha, clutching her wounded shoulder, asked the guy why he did it. And suddenly, she felt a flush of heat. And the blurring figure replied softly, I'm sorry, he's just stressed out. My hand slipped. Unlike Beowulf, if Risha dies now, Puck will settle the debt and can then join the squad of the great swordswoman Luni and Arde. But despite the blood and sweat, she held on. Stay calm, concentrate, and use those flawless maneuvering skills. Great. Just like that. Now she'll definitely handle Beowulf. And this, Siho could not allow. Threw a poison knife in her face. But Arisha fought back and realized, last time was no accident. But the girl shouldn't have gotten distracted. The monster's maw was already looming over her head. Spinning around, she raised her blade and plunged it into the monster's neck. After which the Beowulf carcass pinned the girl down. But why did the glass attack her? But here he ignored Arisha and grabbed Adachi. He finally got it. True, this blade can only be used with a specific skill, but whatever, I'll think about that later. What if his memory doesn't fail him? Killing NPCs also grants XP, right? Then it's time for Arisha Arte to say goodbye to her life. Oh, she's about to burst into tears. This feels so good. But then a small bag of some kind of dust hit Seiho in the head, making the guy cough. However, she caused no further harm. Yeah, weird stuff. Hey, who's this stranger? Who the __ are you? What do you want? He showed his face, but instead of the boss, a pack of forest monsters ran toward the Sith. Their favorite food is yellow fly agarics, or more precisely, the reddish pollen from their caps. So now, in the eyes of the forest dweller, the hero looked like a tasty, fresh piece of meat, marinated in its favorite seasoning. While he fought off the creatures, the protagonist pulled Arisha from under the Beowulf. And thank God, she's still alive. But man, if I have to fight Tycho, I'm gonna need a real weapon. Let's say, one of those kinds of creatures. We need to pull it out. What the fuck? Who's this stranger? If the master downed 3 horned rats in a minute. Feels good to swing a sword like a date, doesn't it? Well, what a familiar voice. It's a Locke. How did he end up here? And what? Doesn't Frostbite remember anything? Well, that's great. Hey, Styho might not lose his hands if he holds the sword like that. And as soon as he stood on the blade, Corin swung wide and threw dust into his eyes. What are these cheap moves? Corin should just die here. And dodging the pack's lunges, the protagonist thought that although he's a swordsman, he moves quite fast. Sihu is still physically stronger than Carino, so the latter has no choice but to try his best. Plus, the main character has Beowulf's Fang, which he'll use to slit the throat of the beast. Well, okay, not now, but very soon. Let __ focus on Locke's weapon until they see nothing but that Fang. And then, once he has Sihu's full attention, the protagonist uses the dagger. And oh, the bastard's in pain, he even started crying. He has no right to do that. And swinging his Fang, the protagonist aimed the sharp point at the spider's neck, but it thrust its hand forward and somehow held back the onslaught. Not for long, though. The Fang pierced Sihu's throat, soaking the ground with blood. Accept my gratitude for my past life. I have to admit, I only managed to get stronger because of you. But you did it like this. I regret nothing. I mean, I just finished off those monster larvae. Player Meyer. Calculating the percentage for completing the main story. The first best backup is recommended. Variable Coriello LK. Under review, potential analysis, worldview analysis, compatibility analysis, player fail analysis. Experience, minimum stats, and the previous player's initial save will transfer to Corin Locke in case the scenario fails. An extra player has started their journey. Now you are a triple-class knight, successor to the martial arts master. So, this is what the system's voice sounds like. Top player, so Corin finally gets a stat window. Awesome. But then he heard Narishi. That's right, the girl is injured. She's sort of okay and not. She can't see anything. Well, at least he can talk. It's not that bad. She's dizzy and can't smell anything. And my ears are ringing. How did he know? Experience? Okay, judging by how she's slurring her words, there's peacock frog venom involved here. During training, it's hard to create this without the combination window. If Sihov had mastered this skill properly, Arisha would have died instantly. Now we need to stop the bleeding and give her the antidote. Apply a tourniquet to the arm and keep quiet. Everything's fine. The hero will help the girl, but it'll be bad if she bites her tongue in the process. We need to give her something to bite on. Oh, a hand will do. Let Arisha bite her. When she feels intense pain, the girl must endure it with all her might. Log has no idea why he returned to the past. But now that a player died by his hand and Miss Arden survived, he felt an incredible sense of relief. Well, the bleeding has stopped, and now I need to prepare the antidote. Girls, don't worry, Just a bit more and everything will be fine. People don't just die like that. But let the savior say his name. No, Arisha shouldn't know him. You should have gotten some proper rest. The protagonist will wake her up as soon as he makes the antidote. From now on, as few people as possible should know about his actions. I think it's time to clear things up. As the name implies, Heroic Legends of Arhan is a story about a hero. As the player handles all the incidents and accidents at the academy, they become a hero and the savior of the world. But I must deal with countless villains and the final boss. The only reason the __ story followed the plot is very simple. If the final boss isn't defeated, the world will end. But right now, the player is dead. Who's going to take his place? Obviously, it'll be a root. However, the system majorly screwed him over and couldn't properly transfer the player's duties. In the end, Korin didn't have access to the system. To the stat window, inventory, and combination window. Then what's the point of an extra player? He was so excited about the new system, but nothing has changed. Knowing the future alone isn't enough to become a worthy replacement for a player. But then again, Korin trained his tail off for 3 years, and is no longer just an ordinary NPC. And after drawing a circle with an intricate symbol on the ground, a small whirlwind rose above the guy. And thank God it works. In his past life, not desperately struggling to survive, and having a knack for magic, Korin studied only one field. A rune, an ancient symbol possessing magical power. And Locke focused most on the runes of the 3 commandments, Long Restriction and the Oath. They're incredible, capable of granting superhuman strength or causing a player's death. But the guy had no choice. He will engrave all 3 runes on his body. And here's the first debt. Its essence is this: by voluntarily taking a vow, the caster gains additional power from that commandment. And you can promise anything, for example, not to eat chicken. However, this is very easy to maintain, so the stat boost will be minimal. That's why Korin must take a demanding oath that he'll stay true to for the rest of his life. For example, I vow not to ignore the misfortune of good people. And as soon as Luke said it, the system responded. Now, the extra player's stats will increase during the quest, but if they break the oath, their stats will be weakened tenfold. Excellent. Now for the second rune. Limitations. I don't perceive spirits. And Korin said, it's not for nothing. In this world, everyone has spiritual perception. There are also intangible ghosts or elementals here, and they only make contact through mutual awareness, so they can't harm those who are unconscious or lack spiritual perception. For breaking this oath, the system threatened the guy with a 6% damage increase from enemies, but rewarded him with a 50% damage boost against physical objects. Nice. Now the protagonist is protected from spiritual entities. As for the final vow rune, this commandment involves high risk, as it uses the weight of the promise as its source of power. That's why neither Kore nor Shiho used it in their past lives. But even Park, who used everything the system had, ended up losing. So there's no point in worrying about it anymore. The oath will be this: I will save the world. Yes. The most significant oath of the protagonist was that of a warrior striving to fulfill great ambitions. And the system immediately notified Korin, applying commandments to the additional player. Failure to comply will result in certain death. And sometime later, Arisha opened her eyes. And what the? Where was she? Oh, the girl is already awake. The nurse is glad to see her in good health. He feels good? Mr. Dan is currently at the Merkaba City Emergency Hospital. Yeah, okay, she's fine. But where is her savior? I just left. That's sad. Oh wait, did he forget his badge on the nightstand? There's still blood on the strap. Yes, it's a specific item belonging to Arisha's savior. Hey, okay, the nurse says there's a place nearby where you can buy honey-filled candies. Well, no sweets for the patient for now. And 3 days after finishing the train quest, the main character walked toward the Merkaba Academy. And the entrance ceremony is about to start there. I checked my wallet to find my student ID and get inside smoothly, but I found an envelope, opened it, and there was a letter from my father with this content. He was proud of Courtney. May your son, like the great protectors, become a wonderful person who guards others. Oh, when did Dad even have time to plant that letter? Corin Locke is just a talentless kid, but even he has a family. When the protagonist entered someone else's body, he felt awkward. It felt very strange to the guy, yet they still treated him like family. That was how he began to love his family from another world. That's the difference between him and Poxy. Arriving at the academy by tram, amid a crowd of students, the protagonist saw a blue-haired girl asking everyone to gather around her. And the guys knew too, right? His name is Corin Locke. And he's so tall, he probably eats a lot, he wants potatoes. Today, Galalasi will act as a guide for the newcomers. After bringing the students to the science hall, the girl began her lecture, but the protagonist completely tuned out, lost in thought about her. Maria Dinarive, a top-tier mage and sophomore at the academy. She walks forward on a smooth and wide road, blessed by everyone. But life goes on, and the people in the game's world continue to face numerous tragedies. Maria will also feel the depths of despair in the future, as she is the final boss of the first arc. Lost in these thoughts, Corin didn't even notice the tour had ended until he found himself in the hall of the Merkaba Free Academy. Yes, the space expansion magic here is still impressive. And now, Damon must scare the students with his raspy, loud voice. He's still the same. It's like Corin's in a training camp. The history of humanity in this world is a constant battle against demons. And the most effective weapon against them is superhumans, who use aura and mana. Merkab Academy trains exactly these kinds of prodigies. But then, Professor Permactaman of the Night faculty stepped out of the shadows and introduced himself. This year, he's in charge of the freshman welcome ceremony. Well, all these young talents came here to become knights and mages, and they will surely get their licenses. However, Permac hates seeing those weaklings walk around with their heads held high, so he wants to see what they can really do. A moment later, a status window appeared before every student, and the protagonist had, well, just terrible stats. Low aura, low mana, and general appraisal abilities are very weak. Now that the students have reviewed the data, have them stand by the number corresponding to their rank. Yes, well done. Permac wishes them luck in the battle. And so, the students moved into subspace. The professors agreed that they have many talented freshmen this year. Honestly, there's no point in evaluating ranks 1 and 2. Let them wait for the other participants to finish their tests. Sword Emperor's granddaughter Arisha Arden, Avalorn Druid Yule, Dronavarsky Mercenary, Kranadin Golem Master, and the only first-ranked student, Celestial Shashabaran. Just think, the Academy decided to enroll a freshman like that. That's what Madame Josephine said. But her colleague thought there was no point in checking the 6th-ranked guys. Even if the Tier 5 students aren't great, it's easier to weed out these failures. But the chairman wants all students to follow the path of learning. Does the gentleman have an objection? And under no circumstances. Time to start the check. And suddenly, a weapon case appeared before Corin in subspace. He heard monsters would appear in 30 seconds, and they had to do everything possible to deal with them. Yeah, no friendliness at all, as always. So, most students probably have 5th and 6th ranks. They'll probably grab the first weapon they find, say, a sword. Corin also chose him in his past life, but now, faced with high-speed racers, our hero remembered a piece of wisdom. How to make the most dangerous warrior. We take a simple peasant who knows nothing and train him to use a spear for 2 weeks. That's it, we're sending it to war. Peasants with spears can shut anyone up. It just hit me right in the eye. That's it, you can train your whole life. A peasant with a spear will just fucking poke you to death. It's one of the most primitive and effective techniques out there. That's why Corin chose the spear, threw it at the shaft, and naturally cracked the racer's skull. Magically returned the weapon to his hands. And to be honest, those mutts were unlucky, because the protagonist had already killed them many times over. So, it took him 12 seconds to kill the monsters. Taking this test in his past life, Root couldn't kill the racer and failed it. However, things are different now. Send in the grunts, we'll shut him up now. But 5 minutes later, the guy didn't get it. Why hasn't anyone shown up? The system is glitching out. And the professor, who didn't want to test rank 6 students, watched the newcomers from a level above and complained. What will they do next if they can't even handle rank 5 beasts? The man finished them off in a minute and 22 seconds every time. If these guys are like this, then rank 6 rookies aren't even worth looking at. And have any monsters appeared at Quarren Lock? Maybe it's some kind of glitch? I should throw some creatures at him and forget about it until the test ends. The man will look at the one who finished first. Wow, he spent 7 minutes and 20 seconds. It'll probably take the third rank about 2 or 3 minutes. Alright, what's Kieran up to? Huh? What the hell is wrong with this bastard? Why is he sitting around chilling again? The monster summon seems to be malfunctioning. But his fellow instructor disagreed. In 20 years, Madame Josephine's magic has never failed. Yeah, right. Then why is that drone that was supposed to take off just sitting there? Just this one. Monster summoning isn't working. And did the professor personally see that no one showed up? No, he's sure he's right. Now he'll try again. And the main character got fed up with the racer over some regular nonsense. They're making fun of the translation. Well, let them watch the beasts get beaten again. And in just 7.3 seconds. And the professor and instructor were just floored. Can Mac go up to them? What's the shortest time his trainees have ever taken on a test? And a guy named Jaeger finished in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. What is this? How should I put it? They've got some kind of genius here, or maybe a hunter's son, given how well he handles that spear. So what happens when facing a rank 4 monster, the Mad Boar? And it shuts him up in just 3.7 seconds. Well, here's a harder task for Kieran. An owlbear is way too much for a rank 3 to handle, but our hero dodged the beast's claw and stabbed its side with a spear. It only angered the monster, so he used rune magic to set the owlbear ablaze, which amazed the professors. Corin uses runes. That's right. Only it didn't help him. Hardly helped. The fire had no effect, but the smoke from the wool blinded the beast, and that's enough for a quick kill. At that moment, the instructor regretted that the test had only 3 monster ranks. For the first time in a while, a truly interesting student has joined the academy. The man is already looking forward to his battle with a rank 5 demonic spirit. But when he appeared before Corin, the latter neither saw nor heard a thing. Due to the restriction, he couldn't perceive spirits, and they couldn't contact him. So, after waiting a minute just in case, Head Yuri confirmed he was right and simply refused to fight, for which he was disqualified. But not in shame, instead, with 3 new academy records for slaying beasts. I thanked the professor for the interesting test, but he wondered, who is Luca, anyway? A little later in the same Hall of Freedom, Cloyd noticed Jaeger Hinspector, the same guy who harassed the player at the start of the previous live story, for which Paxil killed him. And even though Igor is an arrogant bully, at that age, it's normal. Park acted like a total psycho. And that guy, Lark, apparently didn't get a good result on the test. In Carino's past life, he couldn't overcome his inferiority complex and slandered Luck and Siu. He suffered the same fate as Garaz. But then the protagonist's thought was interrupted as Chairman Arya Kazar addressed the students. They entered the academy to become strong. Some of them have already succeeded, while others have a long way to go. Ario can't guarantee that the kids will get what they want by studying here, but hopes they'll find themselves. Professors want to help them take the first right step, but the second will be the student's own responsibility. That's all. Have a good day. And most of the guys split up across the academy, unlike third-ranked Knight Jaeger, who approached an unsuspecting Lark, found out he was only rank 5, and began publicly humiliating him. But Corin wouldn't stand for it. He jumped to the hole, and wow, look at that sick tattoo on his back. It must have been made by a talented master. It looks very neat up close. It shows her blood group, so the guys can do a quick transfusion in case someone's wounded. Impressive preparation. And keeping the edge a secret. Honestly, that's a job for the inspectors themselves. She originally specialized in line work, but at her boyfriend's request, she did an old-school style tattoo. Yeah, amazing. Does he have any other tattoos? But there is a spoiler. Corin knew this from his past life. When Igor went missing, his mom came to the academy and mentioned that all the inspector tattoos have a specific meaning. The mother was just worried about her son, so she did everything to keep him safe in case of an emergency. That's just a parent's heart. And after meeting Jaeger and Lark, the protagonist steered the conversation in a friendly direction. Irisha noticed it. That guy so naturally stepped in to save the person getting bullied. Amazing. He seems like a good man, but Corina's thoughts were far from it. It's great that he made a good first impression on Lark. It seems like its specialty was memorization. Yes, exactly. Found it. A sweet free skill book in Merkaba Academy. Most amenities are provided free of charge. The food is cheap. Students aren't charged at all for staying in the dormitory. But the most important and coolest place was the training hall, where the protagonist arrived. It's all because using this facility made the impossible training sessions possible. For example, battles with spirits that the root hasn't seen. And this battle caught the students' attention. Even sophomores can't catch a wind spirit, but that freshman is on fire, taking a serious beating, yet he won't give up. The instructor approves, but why does he need this kind of training? And as for improving his spear skills, he's sure he can handle it. And then some. Why did that old man approach Corin and decide to pick on him about the entrance test? However, the instructor smiled warmly. He respects that attitude. Give the kid 10 food stamps. Let him find it, if he can. He'll get praised. And Corin was scared at first, but for nothing. Yes, that guy just wanted to show him some respect. Probably a good sign. Well, time to get back to training and let that spirit kick my ribs again. It hurt so much. Is this really all the main hero is capable of? And then a stream fell on the guy's face. Maybe wipe the floor? Maria brought him some more water. Mashenka has gotten quite tired. That's true. Oh, so why doesn't he take a break? He's worked hard enough. He just needs to settle in, and one day it'll all work out. Try again next time. However, there is no next time. Maybe he was there 3 years ago with Pox and Huh. They had the window of staves, potions, and skill books from the combination window. She's like the main character who killed a gay guy, so I have to do everything myself. Thanks to Maria for the water and advice, but you can give up any time. He must become the strongest, and first of all learn the limits of his abilities. It might be overkill, but I need to see which skills from the past route can use. Well? Stinging snake strike. Wind swing. Blocking counterattack. Reverse heaven rotation. Mountain toss. View. Loke has no physical body, no powerful magic, no aura, and knowing the future is useless against monsters and geniuses. To stand against them, he had to work harder than anyone else. And that's the guy's only advantage. Those years won't let him down. Serpent of Calamity. That's where that spirit belongs. And Maria was amazed. Corin just threw a spear. Decided to give up after all. Fuck. No. The weapon returned to his hands. This drop allowed the guy to capture the spirit and break it down into its components. Generic words like strong or outstanding aren't enough to describe Kurin. But Maria had already found the right words. He's amazing. And at that moment, the protagonist collapsed to the floor. His body won't hold out. Maybe I shouldn't push myself so hard anymore. And the next day, Maria welcomed the freshmen. Today she'll show them the facility and the academy. But Quarren tuned her out once again. First and foremost, a guy needs to take care of his body to fight properly. And you can improve your physical abilities without any elixirs. Only one thing can help the protagonist with this: the commandments. He promised not to ignore the misfortune of good people. And he has one such poor soul in mind. Hi, Larku. Doesn't want to eat with Kieran and talk a bit about grimoires. This is a skill book. Reading that, you can acquire skills or stats there. The Merkaba Academy Library is known for its impressive size and has served as a place for storing and passing down knowledge for generations. Alright, __ all this. The library is actually a repository of grimoires. Right, if you want to hide a tree, hide it in the forest. Herc replied to Quarren. The main thing is that he keeps his promise. But Four Eyes needn't worry. If he meets the conditions, he'll get a grimoire with stats. Lark is a real hard worker, an intellectual, and a model student. He memorizes spells and keeps them in his book. Of course, quantity doesn't matter, since you can't use it all anyway. A low-level mage with low mana won't get good results, even with a great theoretical base. But with a grimoire, it's a different story. And so the main hero found the right book, tossed it out of the shelf, and a secret door appeared before him. And Lark's jaw nearly hit the floor. Well, why am I standing here? Let's go! Good. Well, it's kinda creepy here, just push the fear aside. It's time for the guys to keep their promise. They need to try their absolute best. That's right, Quarren needed help with the spirits, didn't he? What should Ark do? But getting punched in the face. But now we can begin. Quarren came here primarily to help the poor guy, but he also needs to complete a special quest. If he manages to catch a spirit here, our hero can get the desired hidden fragment. But there were a couple of problems with his plan. The special demon spirit Savancia Duke and the quest's impossibility. It's hard to catch even ordinary spirits, let alone this aggressive ghost. 800 years ago, he was a general ruling over Yugua. Most players were wiped out by his attack right at the start of the quest. But that doesn't apply to Quarren, since he can't perceive spirits. Actually, that guy hasn't seen Shursin either, so couldn't Mr. Duke just possess him? And a bit of history. In the game world, there are things called factors that turn ordinary people into something like demons, vampires, or werewolves, for example. One day, Svensiak awoke as a bloodsucker and killed his servant. His attempt to curb his instincts failed miserably. And in the end, fearing for his wife and daughter, he evacuated his family and loved ones and locked the castle gates. Hoping to avoid a bloodbath, the Duke used magic to seal himself inside a book, the very grimoire kept in the library. And now, Larka let out a roar and lunged at the main character. Well, what can you do? Vampire instincts are strong. Oh right, Quarren brought the Four Eyes here for another reason too. The thing is, a person possessed by Savancia can unlock their physical potential. But in the heroic legends of Arkhand, student Lark has the lowest power level. It's a pity for the poor guy, but there's simply no better way to finish Duke's quest. If Root kills the Four Eyes now, it'll all be over, and he'll get high-rank items like Savancia's cloak and vampire armor. Park used them. These clothes played a big role in future events, but Losico is different. The Duke wonders what happened to his wife Luina and daughter Cecilia. I want to know what kind of life they lived after he sealed himself away. To put it briefly, Luina died very soon after. But Cicely became a great adventurer. But the guy talked about it for hours, making sure that the Paxaho method is total garbage, since Eukarina is also in the family. A real Locke would surely want to end the life of the miserable soul, Steven C. Duke, who apologized for attacking a student. Thank him for these stories. But Swansea was curious about some other things. Anyway, the conversation dragged on. However, in the end, Yuck finally left, leaving behind the soul dust of a special demonic spirit and a grimoire containing spell abilities that can be obtained after reading. Thus, the protagonist gained the resilient warrior's regeneration skill, as long as he maintains an incredible will. Like a warrior who hasn't lost his fighting spirit, his body will continue to recover. And that jerk Pozikov had this ability. True, Root has no idea how strong she is, because he's never been injured. Oh, Larchie, tell him not to push it. He was possessed by a spirit this whole time. Yes. But is that supposed to make your jaw and roots hurt? No idea. Probably. Here's a gift for your trouble, poor things. A grimoire. And as for the final reason the protagonist decided to help A.R. Lark, it was because Corinne really wanted to see a hard-working person get their well-deserved reward. The system immediately notified him that he fulfilled his duty not to ignore the misfortunes of good people, looting 80 stat points. Not bad. To get that much, you'd have to level up 16 times. Since one usually gives you 5 points. There was no notification of an increase. So, this is the entire quest reward. Does that amount make up for the fact that you can't distribute the points yourself? It's unclear. Just like why, a bit later, Maria handed out potatoes to the students in the training gym. I wonder if Corinne will work with spirit bodies again today. Exactly. Oh, great. Gallboy believes in the younger one and will cheer him on. Why is she getting the freshman's hopes up? The snotty rookie had the nerve to crash his spotlight. The guys are even willing to bet money that Karina is going to fail. But why on earth are they placing bets? Never mind. The main character will just focus and beat the __ out of that spirit. I wonder how much stronger Karen has become. Well, he'll test it using his weakest move. Complete the snake strike. No holy paladin, the guy just got burst down. But the upperclassmen got it, they invested in __. Their money's down the drain. Well, to be honest, the main character was shocked himself. This is getting to be a bit much. If Mari remembers correctly, yesterday it took him 3 hits, today, only 1. That's right. But can a mage really track an attack from a calamity serpent? What is this trickery? And besides, is Karen stalking the blue one, or how should I take this? And then Maria shoved a bag of coins under his nose. It's his share. Thanks to Luke, she made some good money today. So I decided to share the jackpot. But why? So what? A guy doesn't like it when you share money with him. No, of course I don't like it. There's a man who hates money. Maria is pure gold. Such a smart girl. Please, let it stay this way. And that same night, Corin ate baked potatoes for dinner and thought. In his past life, he honed his skills desperately, yet barely managed the 5th of the 6 steps to enlightenment. There was still a long way to go, but the boy mastered the spear faster than expected, so he wasn't worried. The problem is rune magic. He lacked the mana to use certain signs like Hagalaz. In his past life, Corin never managed to figure this out. But it's worth addressing the problem. So he'll surely become stronger than his former self. Need to use my head. And suddenly someone called out to the guy. He recognized the voice instantly and got tilted. It doesn't matter how hard the protagonist tries to master the spear or rune magic. There's already someone at the academy he won't be able to defeat. She's the only character even Paxenho couldn't handle. One of the strongest heroic legends of Archon. The notorious disruptor of balance. The celestial Yakshavrin. What is she doing here? Why did you talk to Corinne? It's hard. Locke will probably just ignore her and leave. This girl is literally a ticking time bomb. Where's that guy going anyway? They're talking to it? They merged them. He isn't the owner of this body, is he? He? Do the girls really know that the protagonist took over Quarren's body? Damn, Warang's gonna be a pretty controversial being. Zenshur, a living corpse inhabited by the souls of both a human and a demon. They say the eyes of those stuck between life and death can see the light of another soul. Okay, better take a breath. It would be strange if she didn't notice anything. But why isn't the root responding? What does it feel like to destroy and consume an original soul? No idea. In his past life, the guy thought about this a lot. Quarren and he are different people. Were the memories of him actually his own? What about this? Who's the main character then? Graduated from all boys middle and high school, kinesiology major, and completed military service on Earth. But none of it made sense. Warren is different from Karen, because the original soul is still in her body. But the guy is the true owner of the body, pity him. What right does he have to do that? And in a neighboring town of the main characters, there's a guy who turns into a green giant when he gets angry. His name is Bruce. And Akshan knows one. What? That's why it's so funny that his split personalities, who hate each other, are good at completely different things. Quarren is trying to say, it doesn't matter if it's an original soul or a newly formed one. After all, both live and exist together. Whether they liked it or not, they were born in one body, and that is not a sin. There Varane gritted his teeth at such a statement. There are those in this world whose very birth is a sin. The protagonist knew how much this 3-year-old was suffering right now, so he didn't continue the conversation and left. And early the next morning, I wandered to the southern part of the academy, because that's where the quest board was located. You can find big and small contracts on it, helping you level up before starting the next quest. Roughly speaking, it's a must for the player. However, Quarren's goal isn't to level up alone, so he won't be fixated on the missions. He just wanted to check something. On the downside, the guy wasn't here alone. I wonder why Risha is staring at him. He doesn't know much about her since in his past life, Sahira dealt with her, so they'll ask, do you want a mission on the very first weekend? And yes, but why? She's second rank, and the girl needs money. Seriously? Didn't the academy allocate extra funds? No, she gets nothing because her parents' income is too high. This is like the scholarship system in Korea, where kids from wealthy families don't receive financial aid. Looks like Arisha's in a tough spot. But if you need money fast, you might want to check out the patrol mission. It pays pretty well. Then it takes up to 3 people. Doesn't Corey want to come along? No, the guy needs to do something else. It's the protagonist's precious weekend, so he'll pick the best quest, complete it, and earn some points. So, the first quest will be to find the butterfly. It won't give much XP, or much money. But Corinne's goal is the commandment. If you save, and return the kitten that nearly died in the water monster's clutches, it could save the owner from losing her pet and falling into depression. And as a result, since Quarren didn't ignore Anna McMillan's misfortune, the system gave him 5 points. Fire. That's how it works. So the kid can profit even from the simplest tasks. Now the root's like, damn, almost black. Just shout, and he'll appear. All for the points. Oh wait, there's something more important. The protagonist even made a note about it. Still almost forgot anyway. And so he appeared in the home of an old man who had fallen into despair. Things couldn't have been worse. He used more than 10 ingredients, including garlic, carrots, and peppers. However, a sauce that keeps the chicken tasty even after it cools down has yet to be created. Hey, he needs to add corn syrup, and the problem will be solved instantly. That's it, Quarren's off. Who's this joker anyway? Who the __ would add this ingredient? Nothing's gonna change. But the old man will try. Holshivo. This taste is perfect. But Kurani had no doubt. He was duty-bound to help the old man, as a local Korean. It's tough without eating chicken. Moreover, he didn't ignore Yuji Enjo's misfortune. And the system gave him 5 points again. Seriously, even strange desires like these activate the commandment. Anyway, I can't really complain. A person who makes yang yam chicken can't be bad. Watching the laughing guy, Waring thought he was strange. And Josephine, suddenly appearing from the portal, finally found Yasha. She left her alone, as the student had no intention of leaving town. But next time, tell him to ask for permission if he wants to leave the academy grounds. However, the Waring didn't answer, remembering his recent talk with Corin. So birth is not a sin then. But someone very important to this girl once said she should never have been born. And shortly after, Jafina took the students out to the hunting grounds to demonstrate their survival skills. If they reach the huts in the North Woods, they'll pass the test for now. Have them put on the armbands for their rank in the hut. Students will be able to return them. The time spent will affect the points earned for the prize. And the main character tried to find Warren among the guys, but she's apparently too strong for general trials, so she wasn't invited. Unlike Ari Shah, who was happy to see Kieran. Thanks to him for the advice. She finished that task and made some easy cash. Sure, no problem, feel free to reach out. Want some candy? The guy bought them for his little sister, but he doesn't want any himself. Too sugary. This is a honey bomb, Ari Shah. Really, we can eat something this precious? But then Jafina shouted to the students that the test was starting and scattered them across the forest with magic. The hero had seen many mages, but only Madame Josephine could create spatial magic on such a scale. She is still the same great witch. And wouldn't you know it, the test just started and the students are already fighting. True, but even skilled people need many attempts to pass the hunting grounds trial. This is a so-called battle royale, where players spawn at random points and can score points by taking others' headbands. But those root types will slip through. Small fry. The most dangerous one here is Arisha, with the second-rank blue headband. And since there are no Waring here, if Corinne takes her out, the rest will just be free points. The girl might not have known, but the protagonist put a tracking rune on that candy, so they'll definitely meet again soon. Anyway, let Arishenko wait. You'll have to answer for that candy. Meanwhile, Josephine decided to head to the forest, after informing the chairman. Sure, there are other professors, but it doesn't hurt to be safe. Wait a second, where's that kid? Did Ario really send her to the general trial? No, it's not. She left on her own. Something in her heart had probably changed, and Mr. Kozar was damn right. Waring was out on the hunt, and already determinedly chasing her first victim, a Korean local. While Arisha was sweating and didn't understand why the students were acting like that. Is that fair? There are many of them, and only one of her. Oh, I wish the monster would just pass out. Gave up the armband. And as expected of a good man, he saved Miss Artem. Of course, Arisha, it's wonderful. I'm talking about that little blue band on your arm. Give it here. Dodging the spear, the girl began to cry. She thought Corinne was nice since she gave her a piece of candy once. But you shouldn't take things like that from strangers. And since Arisha falls behind other rank 2s in combat power due to her physical damage type, she'd better be a good girl and hand over the bandage. Although Miss Arden doesn't compare to her truly genius sister, she's still among the game's top-tier heroes. Arisha easily dealt with 7th, 3rd, and 4th rank students who teamed up against her. That's why Corin is no match for her. Just 30 seconds ago, Miss Arden was amazed by her opponent's strength. Close combat. Long-range strategy. This guy is playing with her, countering and pushing. But there were gaps between Corin's attacks. If you get hit, you're caught. The practice suffered from an excessive reliance on talent. After parrying the incoming attack, Kieran pushed against his opponent's weapon and delivered a straight strike. This is called a run start. These three foundations combine to become the simplest perfect counterattack. In the end, they collided. However, Arisha managed to repel the guy's onslaught with her aura. Still, it was dangerous. It's not about strength or speed. Locke's skill level is just insane. Damn it. Just who does he think he is? Definitely a 5th rank knight. The girl is devastated. But Arisha shouldn't worry, the main character will take care of her bandage. Yeah. Hey, where did he run off to? It's not fair. What happened a moment later? Damn, the enemy's sword is heavy. It must be made of a special iron stone, 4 times denser than steel. But one way or another, the onion survived. Eirik is back with his owner, Doran Warsky, and he wants rank 5 to leave that headband and get the hell out of here. Yeah, things look bad. Thorin didn't want to cross paths with the mercenary, even after defeating many foes. Not a scratch on this guy. He's the embodiment of calm. The difference between him and Arisha is obvious. But since this meeting actually happened, it's really time for the protagonist to get out of here. Fighting Dorn now is not an option. The boss wasn't imagining it. There was definitely something purple in the chicken's teeth. And he really did go rushing after the eye. And who's going to pay him for that? What, Risha joined? Oh, for crying out loud, the main character just won't die. Alright, there's no point in fighting. Just take this bandage to the hut and my bad. Kronov is precious, and his golem won't allow him such a luxury. Anno gave back the headband. Now that is a real problem. Kronova in the front, and Darren in the back. It looks like in trying to avoid a fight with one, Huron ran into 2 at once. But with a snap, he dropped into a fighting stance. Because if he has no option to avoid the fight, there's no other choice but to stand his ground. And sometime later, the protagonist knocked on the hut, and became the first to pass the trial. He can collect his prize. Well, would you look at that? The guy brought 3 whole blue headbands. The instructor is impressed. However, Locke just got lucky. But Risha didn't think so. Corrin pierced the magic ball's core before it reached full power, and drove his weapon deep into the ground so telekinesis couldn't catch him. With minimal movement, this guy dodged blades he couldn't block, redirecting them into the golems. And then he moved behind Doran and used him as a shield. And while the mercenary fought off the golem, the root neutralized them both. And without its protector, Kranul naturally suffered defeat. Reaction speed, judgment, even psychological warfare. As if he's a person who's fought on the battlefield countless times. He handled the tough situation in an instant. His spear basics, the techniques used to overcome weakness, reminded Arisha of her sister. Like Corrin said, the practice suffered from an over-reliance on talent. Yes, Mr. Dian, you should also try your best. And Darn was thinking along the same lines. Who exactly is this 5th rank? It's as if he knew all about the mercenary's moves and abilities. And Kronov even started lecturing after the victory. To small and strong opponents, Malgolems are just big targets. If Butch were Ludden, he'd find a friend to be his bodyguard. Only Ginger has no friends. That's sad. Well, good luck finding them. In short, those 3 freshmen remembered the protagonist in their own way that day. Right now, only one strong participant remains in the hunting grounds, you, a druid protected by the forest. But there was a catch. It wasn't just students who were there. Their strongest opponent was the great mage of the Merkaba Academy, Maria de Narive. The seniors played the monsters to help the juniors practice. She wasn't very lucky to run into the blue-haired one. And when she lost, the hunting grounds trial ended. So it seemed to everyone. But suddenly, Warren approached Maria and sadly asked, "What's her name, anyway?"